If any one of these 5 things is showing up in your relationship, it's a warning sign. Ignore even one, and you're likely on the slow path to a breakup. And make sure you stick around to the end because the last one is the most dangerous, and then I'll share with you the secret to fixing all 5 of them. Ideally, we're not just building a temporary relationship, we're building a culture that your family will grow around. So the way that you handle this stuff sets the tone for your whole home. So let's start here. Do you ever look at your relationship and wonder, is this just a rough patch or are we in serious trouble here? If you're building your family, working like crazy, and trying to be a solid man and partner in the middle of it, we don't have time for guessing games. We need clarity. These are the 5 deal breakers that, if left unchecked, will slowly break down even the best of relationships. So let's get into the first one, and if it stings a little bit, it's probably a sign. Disrespect that gets treated like it's normal. To keep it simple, if respect isn't there, nothing else really matters. Not the love, not the shared goals, not even the history that you have together. And disrespect doesn't always show up in shouting or name calling. It's not always blatantly obvious. Sometimes it's quiet. It sounds like, chill, I was just joking. Or maybe getting interrupted every time you try to speak. Or a certain look or glance when you make a mistake in front of people. And over time, you lose confidence and start questioning yourself instead of their behavior. Usually what happens is it gets progressively worse. They cross the line, you let it slide, then they cross it a little farther and a little farther until it gets completely out of hand. And if it starts happening enough, you're no longer building a relationship. You're just kind of tolerating negative behavior. Now, I've been married for some years now, and there have definitely been times in my marriage where I've felt disrespected and where I've done the same to my wife. I'm not perfect. We're not perfect people. It happens. Whether it's because of stress, something's going on, you're just in a bad mood, but that doesn't make it okay. And it's important that you identify it quickly and talk about it. Tell the other person that you don't like it when they talk to you like that, and let them know that that's not an okay way to speak to you or to treat you. Because if you let them cross that line, now they think that that is okay. And then the next time they might push it even farther. But disrespect is just the beginning. What's even more damaging is what gets swept under the rug. Avoiding conflict and calling it keeping the peace. You want a quiet house? I get it. You got kids sleeping down the hall, you got a job that you got to get up for, and 1,000 other things on your plate. Believe me, I get it. The last thing you want to have is a 2-hour argument about your tonality. But here's the truth. If you stop having real conversations, just to avoid a little bit of conflict, you stop having as much meaningful connection. Now, good communication is one of the most important things in a relationship. Over time, the phrase, I'm fine, becomes code for, I'm not fine, I'm just upset at you, I'm mad, and I don't really want to talk to you. And then eventually you stop talking about the small things because they end up leading absolutely nowhere. I think most people have or will have at least one relationship where everything looks just fine on the outside, but on the inside, we know something is wrong. I've definitely had one like this where you can feel the other person pulling away, where you know that something is off and you only have a few choices. What I decided to do with that one is realize that it wasn't working out. It wasn't going anywhere. But you have to sit down, you have to talk with that person and openly communicate with them to figure out what the problem is. And if they're not willing to do that with you, to work on themselves and work on this relationship that you guys have, then they might just not care as much as you do, which is definitely a red flag. But even silence can sometimes feel better than what's next. When love starts looking more like control. Controlling someone often hides behind love. If someone needs access to everything that you have at all times, kind of weird. It might start small with, why didn't you respond to me right away? Oh, I'm always asking about stuff because I'm just worried about you, that's all. Now, these things can definitely be okay and come from true, honest caring about you. However, if they come with you feeling guilty, them feeling suspicious about you, or some type of punishment, then that's not love. It's about control at that point. And here's the thing, even if it's covered with concern, control will make you feel like you've kind of lost yourself. But you know what is even harder to recover from? Feeling emotionally shut out. Here's one that hits a lot of men the hardest, and yet we really don't talk about it all that much. You show up, you provide, you take care of people, you do everything that you need to do. But then if it comes down to kind of opening up to her, you shut down. Now I get it, and it's not because we don't care. I mean, we've kind of been hardwired and trained that emotions equal weakness. But if the person that you care about most in the world has no idea and no access to how you think or how you feel, then there's not really much of a partnership going on here, and you're just kind of separate people. Now, as guys, we don't ever want to unload all of our emotional baggage that we have on the people that we care about the most. That's kind of in our nature. And again, I totally get that. But there are tactful ways that we can go about expressing ourselves without crying all over the place. Because here's the reality, emotional distance leads right into the final deal breaker, and it's one that most people never recover from. Completely different values and long-term goals. You could have perfect chemistry, raise great kids, and even love each other a whole heck of a lot. But if your values and your vision for life are completely different, it's only a matter of time before that shows up as tension, resentment, and ultimately regret. You want structure, they want to be spontaneous. You want a tight-knit family, they want everyone to be independent. You want to grow and progress, and they're very comfortable staying the same. And the scariest part about these things is that they don't always show up right away. Sometimes it's shown up after marriage, after a kid is born, or whenever anything happens and it's time to make real long-term decisions about your life. And this isn't about who's right or who's wrong. This is about what direction you're headed and making sure that you're both going for the same thing. And if you're not, no amount of compromise is going to be able to fix it. You have to understand that values are far more important in a real relationship than shared interests. My wife and I, we have quite a few things in common, interests, likes, dislikes, and whatnot, but our shared values are by far the thing that we have the most in common. The way that we see our life now, the goals that we have, the way that we view relationships, the importance that we put on family, on money, success, careers, religion, kids, these are the things that matter the most. If you don't know what your values are, how are you supposed to find someone who aligns with them? And if she doesn't know what hers are, it's the same thing. You both have to know what your values are, what you deem important in life and as a person, as an individual and as a couple. And if you don't know what they are yet, my advice to you would be to figure it out as quickly as possible. And here's why this all matters, because you don't have time to guess whether or not your relationship is solid or even going to survive. If you're building a home, raising kids, or just trying to be a better example than what you grew up with, then facing the difficult truth now is going to be way better than trying to clean it up down the road. And I think it's important to keep in mind that these 5 things aren't just being picky or being dramatic about something. They're about having overall peace and purpose in your life and your ability to lead in your home without constantly being undermined, second-guessed, or shut out. You can totally have a relationship that works, but only if both sides are willing to make it happen. So the key is to find what isn't working and do everything you can to overcome that. And here's the final secret that can fix every single one of these problems. The answer to most problems in any relationship is almost always good communication. Communicate that you feel disrespected. Talk about things instead of avoiding them and letting them build up. Tell them that you feel like they're being controlling because maybe they don't even realize how you feel. Be willing to open up and communicate your feelings. And finally, be willing to talk about your values and your long-term goals. This way, you're both on the same page to build a life together and not apart. Imagine actually starting a relationship off on the right foot. I know, crazy. Now, if this is the kind of man that you're trying to become, not perfect, but intentional, I've got something for you. If you're a family-oriented man that wants to feel more confidence and strength in your role as a father or a husband, or if it's your goal to become one, hit the link in the description for a free coaching call with me to help get you on the right track. I'll see you on the next video, and remember to live free.